Have you ever wondered how RVing and camping is going to go electric? Well, last week I got to go to downtown San Francisco and meet with Ben, the CEO of Lightship. They have made the first American all-electric RV. We take a deep dive into what is Lightship doing and what are they hoping to accomplish with their prototype L1. All right, this is John from Tesla Owners of Silicon Valley. I'm sitting with Ben from Lightship. We are sitting in the Alpha prototype. They just had a huge release last month at the Southwest event in Austin. So thankfully they're local, obviously in the Bay Area, so it wasn't too far for us to come up the peninsula.
Not just in the Bay, in San Francisco.
Yeah, they're
the city proper.
They're literally
RVs in downtown SF.
Yeah, so we're literally sitting in this prototype in the downtown area, and we're just going to talk about the vision and the history and where Lightship is going and why ultimately Ben, even given his history at Tesla, why he decided to make the first all-electric RV. So we're just going to sit down with Ben and just talk to him about what his vision for the Lightship was. So this is truly a game changer, at least from my understanding, to be able to not remove the range when you're towing it is just huge. I mean, again, we'll get into some of that, but can you just tell me about, and really our audience, about why did you want to do Lightship? Why did you want to make the first all-electric RV?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I hope it shows we're having fun. It's been I worked on race cars when I was in college, building these things like Formula style open wheeled race cars for competition against other schools, and I didn't think I would get another chance in my 20s to do a custom built vehicle from scratch, and I'm glad I did because it's been a lot of fun. The genesis of the company was. Well, actually, there's kind of multiple Tesla roots, but the roots are in Tesla. It was, so I worked at Tesla for about 5 years from 2015 to 2020. My co-founder, Toby, was there, I think, 2009 to 2015. My work at Tesla was as a battery engineer. I was one of the Model 3 battery design engineers, spent a lot of time in Reno on working on the production line and try to unstick it through the whole production ramp of the Model 3. A near company killer, as it was. Luckily we escaped. And then I worked on the next generation battery design, which is now the structural battery that is going into, I believe, the Cybertruck and certainly the Model Ys that are being produced in Austin right now at the 4th Gigafactory. And let's see, that this got started because, unbeknownst to each other at the time, Toby and I were both thinking about, we hadn't met at that point, we were thinking in 2018, let's say, about what does the next wave of electrification look like within transportation, because it was clear to if you were working on the EV side of the auto industry then, that EVs were going to take off. The Model 3 was a great product. It was like, okay, this is a movement. This is going to happen in mainline automotive, but where does it happen next? Because a lot of transportation is going to go electric eventually, and so what is that next area that's ready to electrify? And so we had maybe both of us before we met already kind of had that grand thought in mind, but maybe the origins are a little more humble, which is just that I was at that point, 2018, 2019, back from Reno and working back in Palo Alto at the Tesla headquarters and working every day. Had a little time on the side, and whenever at that headquarters, there's this rotating circuit of food trucks that comes through, and so I would eat at food trucks every day because it was the best food you could get there, and the food trucks were always running these gas generators that are like loud and spewing exhaust fumes into your face as you're trying to order your panini, and I did it every day, and I was getting annoyed by it because I was like, I know there's a better way. It's literally on the other side of the wall. And so started working on a pet project to try to electrify all the food trucks in the Bay Area, and working with food truckers every day, and meeting new food truckers and figuring out, okay, what's the problem here, and how do you electrify these trucks? And then whenever I would tell people about that pet project, RVing inevitably came up, or almost always came up in conversation too. And I think it's just because there are similar needs, to have onboard power to run all of your appliances on an RV, just as with a food truck. And so I was thinking about that too, and I hadn't done a lot of RVing growing up because I'd grown up on an island on the East Coast and then moved to a dense city on the West Coast. Yeah. But part of the reason I moved here is I love road tripping. I love the outdoors. The same is true of Toby. And so I was kind of primed to be interested and started looking into RVing and could already kind of see how how electrification could change the experience, and in a lot of ways I think improve it, because you think about going from gas generators and propane tanks to do your heating and your cooking on board, and then you need sensors to make sure that you're not going to poison yourself from the fumes of from burning those fuels. And thinking about the electric alternative, it is this clean, quiet, sort of seamless power experience on board, and that I could already see was going to make a big difference. I wanted to feel it for myself too, and so COVID came, and I was like, all right, the world has changed here.
Yep.
And so now what do I do? And what I did was I left Tesla and I quit in March. This is 2020.
So right during COVID.
Yeah, right as lockdown started. I'm crazy. Then I rented an RV from a family RV rental business in Antioch, California, and I said, okay, will you rent it to me for 3 months? And they were like, okay, sure, because their phone was not quite yet blowing up with all the RV interest and demand that was going to happen a month later. And so I got lucky there, and then I took this RV out and I did about a 3-month road trip of the whole American West, and I covered like 5,000 or 6,000 miles. And I was it was cool because it gave me a chance to kind of soul search and think, basically do to be the first American electric RV manufacturing company, and really try to bring the industry into the electric age, or bring electrification to RVing, and do what we can to make the best of what's already a great pastime.
So you are traveling for 3 months, and over the summer, literally when the world is coming to an end, no one really knows when this pandemic is going to end.
Yep.
What were things that you learned from RVing that Lightship is going to be different? Like, what are the key things that just come to mind that you want to just really make different as you guys are making a huge difference in this industry?
Well, it's pretty funny, John. You're reminding me one of the things that I did that summer. This is not completely an answer to your question, but I still have it. I downloaded this counter app. I can show you. Maybe you can't see it. And I kept my phone on my knee, and every time that I would see an RV passing me on the road the other way, I was learning about the different types of RVs, and so I kept count of what I was seeing there, just tapping on my knee as they'd cross me in the other direction. And so I was trying to kind of immerse myself in everything that I could learn about going RVing. And I think the thing that maybe the belief that I came away with or developed over time is that for RVing to go into the electric age, or to be ready for electrification, you sort of, honestly, in a lot of ways, much like Tesla had to do now over 15 years ago, you have to take a purpose-built approach to building an RV that is almost compatible with electrification, with electric vehicles. A key thing for us at the start was to realize that okay, we're going to build a towable RV, meaning a travel trailer, something that gets pulled behind a truck, because that is the dominant way that people go RVing. It's something like 90% of the industry is towable. So almost, even though we think sometimes of Sprinter vans and big converted buses and things like that, that is a popular type of RVing. Just by the numbers, towable RVs are that's the industry in a lot of ways. So that was a key thing. And then it was right. So then it was, okay, this is the type of product that we're going to build. Now, how do we make it? How do we make it great and efficient enough to be sort of electric RVing compatible, and still be really awesome for gas and diesel tow vehicles, which is the vast majority of trucks that are out there right now. And so with electric tow vehicles in particular, there are all these electric trucks coming out. They're really awesome. They have one Achilles heel. It's that they can't really tow long distances. Like, they have all the torque to get you up the mountain, but you can't go more than maybe 100 or 125 miles, on the highway, because if you are towing a traditional travel trailer, and that's fundamentally because most most traditional travel trailers, really all are, it's like towing a brick in a way, right? It's this enormous wall that you're pulling behind you. And one thing that is so key in electric vehicle design is aerodynamics. You've got to build something that really slips through the air, because otherwise you're just losing, you're losing your energy to the wind. And battery packs are still expensive. Battery technology it's not as far along now as it's going to be in 10 years. And so you sort of have to design for the scarcity of not having as much energy in a battery as you do in gasoline, for instance. And so for us, we basically said, okay, we've got this opportunity to take a clean sheet approach, and we are going to do everything that we can to make this vehicle as efficient as possible as it goes down the road. And aero is going to be a core thing there. So we have to design doggedly for aerodynamic performance sort of from day one. And actually, literally, one of the first things that I did was to go out, find the best aerodynamicist who I could, who had also worked, actually, I think originally on the Tesla Roadster, like the original Tesla Roadster aero, I think like this is like Lotus era, and has since worked on a bunch of other automotive programs as an aerodynamicist. And we did many months, probably ultimately it's been thousands of simulation hours of aero work to get to what is an optimum shape for the vehicle, so that it's like a bullet. It's it slips through the air. A key thing at the start too was realizing that, okay, we have to make this vehicle have two modes, because when you're camping, if you were just aerodynamic, when you go to camp in it, it wouldn't be spacious. It would be like a little cave that you'd have to be in. So we've got to have a road mode where it's very sleek and aerodynamic, and that's how you get the range back that you need, in your tow vehicle, in your truck. And then when you get to the campsite, it's got to be able to get big, and because you can feel here, you're a pretty tall guy, and I bet you should say you probably still have you've got definitely more than a foot of headspace, which is for people who do a lot of RV travel, like this is not standard. Normally your head is almost scraping the roof of it. So it was key to have that road mode and the camping mode, and that was baked into the concept of the vehicle from the beginning. And basically at every turn we have thought about what are the automotive design principles that we've learned. Toby, the whole team, many of us have an automotive or a product development background. What are the principles that we've learned along the way there? How do we build towards this great modern design and just a really high quality sort of seamless experience across the board? We focus a lot on, I was mentioning earlier, ease of use is a really big thing for us. It should be, you want to, I think, part of the beauty and the joy of going camping is getting to connect with people you love in the outdoors. And so, and our RVing is it's not a detraction from that. It adds to that experience. And so as we think about the technology component in particular, we have this idea of quiet technology, where technology in a vehicle like this should be an enabler of it's like it should help you get back to camping, to the beauty of it. It should not be in your face. It should be quiet in the background and make everything easier. And so effectively, at every turn we are designing for efficiency. We're designing for this great modern, open, airy, spacious experience. A ton of little kind of design delights baked into the product, and just trying to be really thoughtful about what do we love the most in the camping and travel experience, and then in terms of how we build it, how we manufacture this thing, it is designing for quality, durability. We have this idea of built to last. It's actually a core value of the company, that we would build a product that is built to last for generations. It's one that you should be able to pass down to your next of kin, for instance, and be something that stays in the family. And we think the way to do that is by doing great engineering and design up front, and then really good validation, like automotive style validation, to make sure that the product lasts as long as you designed it to. And then when you build it, make sure you have great quality checks through the whole manufacturing process, so that what comes off of the line is tested, and you can guarantee to a customer will be as good as advertised.
Yeah. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but you mentioned a lot of things that seem very Tesla-esque.
Mm-hmm.
So what were just some one or two things that you took from Tesla that are now you guys are implementing into the design, into how you're even making this product so it's easier to build versus like having all these like, components that you're adding, right? Versus like several or maybe fewer. What are some things that Tesla taught you as you're building Lightship?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the auto industry in general is a group of people who have learned over time that you can build a product and a manufacturing system that both offers great sort of opportunities for customization for the people buying the product and a low complexity manufacturing experience. And so there are a bunch of forks in the road choices that we're making in the design of the product to make sure that the complexity of the vehicle is low, but the opportunity to customize it and make your own is high.
Yep.
I think another thing that is I think some of us learn in Tesla is this idea of doing the rigorous validation up front.
Yep.
So you make sure that you send your product through a suite of tests that prove to yourself and then lets you say to your customer, yes, this will last, or this will continue to work. I think it can get overused, but there's this idea of designing from the fundamentals. And at least my and our approach to that is asking. I mean, the ramp is going to be throughout 2025, right? So, folks who have already put down a reservation, we're basically working hard to build a ramp against that order manifest. We've taken a lot of orders already, and I'm like, with the.
You don't have to share, but did it blow past like any expectations?
It's been a pretty good,
okay,
pretty good response. I think people are. we thought that people would be really excited about this because we were experiencing it and saying this is really cool. But to get the validation from the market that this is the real deal. There's this is really people kind of meeting people's needs, and is also something that people are dreaming about because people are putting down $500 a couple years out from getting the product, and that's a pretty cool show of support. Makes us feel good.
So obviously L1 is like the first product. What is Lightship going to become per se? Is it just going to be mainly RVs? Is it going to kind of expand into potentially? I mean, I don't know if that's too far in advance or if you can even share some of that. But
you got to think about it though,
yeah.
Right? When you're making a company, because especially a hardware company, there's a lot of inertia in investing in a hardware business, and it's you've got to know where you're going.
Exactly.
Because when both for us and our investors, when we're making that forward movement, I mean, maybe one thing I remember that Toby and I thought about a lot at the outset was. You can build a company that is a jack of all trades, for instance, or is able to do business in a bunch of different industries or many different use cases. They'd say, but I think here the thing that we love and the thing we've identified is that there is this massive sort of following, or there are so many people who love travel and camping and road tripping.
Yeah.
In America and around the world, and we don't need to delude ourselves. Like that is an enormous movement to go after, and so we're going very deep on travel and camping and being a vehicle manufacturer within that space, and basically trying to make the best travel and camping experiences that you can with products that are that make the best of what our team sort of knows about. And within that, I mean, I think we're first and foremost a vehicle manufacturer, and so we think about a little bit of the maybe originally Tesla has popularized the playbook, but the idea of you want to build a flagship product and one that really shows off the technology, shows off what the product can be, and then use that to develop a following, get product into people's hands, and then make successive products that get you further and further to the mainstream of the market. That's core for us because we are building this company for impact and for scale, and that is part of realizing the dream of the company. And to do that, you got to have volume. You have to be able to deliver a lot of product to a lot of people and make it accessible, including price point. So that's a big thing for us is how do we keep sort of expanding our footprint, within this cool pastime. And I think the other thing that we think a lot about is this idea of utilization, you could say, which is just that RVs right now are they're like this beloved type of product that also basically sit in most people's driveways for 48 or 49 weeks out of the year, and that's a lot of money to put into something that you're not using that much. And so and frankly, as I think because it is underutilized, it also becomes a barrier to accessibility. So not as many people can get into it, even if they would love it. And so that's a big thing for us too, is both, when you own this product, how do you have the opportunity to make use of it throughout the year, even when you're not out on the road with it? And one thing that we realized early on, was that, okay, if this vehicle is big enough that you can put almost as much solar on the roof of it as would go into a typical home, we should make use of that, or you're going to want to if you own it. The same if you have an enormous battery in the floor, like this would be 5 or 6 power walls worth of energy just sitting there. Well, you should probably make use of that too. And so think, at a bare minimum, using this as a source of power security at your house. So if the grid goes down, you can back up your house with your Lightship. That should happen. I think generally it has a lot of use as an energy asset. So it's something that you want to put to use, make money with. That's kind of a key line of thinking for us around the product and ownership.
That's awesome.
And then another big I think big opportunity in the business is how do you find other ways through the business model to get Lightships into people's hands, or to get people into Lightships and to experience the product. And so working on ways to make the product more accessible, and also to generally to make the experience of going RVing more familiar to people, or just easier to do. And part of the idea there is that there's a lot of work that we can do to make a really awesome RV, and one that is unique. There's also the more RVing that we do, and to everyone in the company does a lot of RVing now, because
it's a pre-rec.
Yeah, we're all well. We have a program we call Light Tripping, which is a stipend that we give to every employee to go out RVing every year. It kind of comes from actually from Toby and I having gotten to use the engineering cars at Tesla, where you get to try the product out. Yeah. Similar, like you got to live it to really understand it yourself, and so we sort of expect that of every employee. The more RVing we do, the more you realize that there are points of friction, or there are challenges just logistically in going in the product itself. But there are other parts of the experience, like how do I buy it up front? How do I service it? Where do I actually go? Like where are these places where I can go and park my RV for a night and camp in it? So sort of the whole lodging side of the experience of going RVing. There's a lot as a traveler that you have to plan for or solve up front. And I think especially when you get a chance to build a really cool brand, have a brand that people kind of love and identify with and can connect over and have familiarity to, you get a chance to build an experience too. And in our case, we love travel and camping. And especially kind of in the outdoors and on the road. And so let's figure out ways to make going RVing more broadly accessible and easier to do. And so that's sort of, as we think about just the long arc of the business, that inhabits our mind every day.
Yeah, and just on that, and probably what we'll close with is more of like, what is like, so once you get to the destination, kind of what is the Lightship experience that's different than what I would just get, with a different RV? Like,
well, I think the first part of it is when you get into the campground, your Lightship is in road mode, so it's about the height of the truck, and then you, for instance, pull out your phone and you send it into camping mode, and there's this presentation moment where the vehicle doubles in size, so it becomes this enormous thing that y'all saw from the outside. We're sitting in now, and so that's pretty unique.
Yeah,
I would say that
totally.
you might draw some stares.
Yeah,
have to explain it to other campers. I think in every part of it, it should be kind of like on the power side, on the technology and the power side, where today you're having to think a lot about how do I power all my appliances, how do I run anything on board. Here it should be like about face from that, so you get into it, and in ways it's kind of like a vacation home. Like you maybe you get to your vacation home and you flip the power breaker on when you get there. Here you should get in, flip a button, and everything is on. Everything just works, and you're not hearing about it. You're not smelling it. It's just working.
Yep.
And then I think in terms of the design too, is there's just a bunch of really thoughtful touches where it's like you should be able to camp in this and hang out with your friends and your family, and it's a cozy space. It's a place you want to be in. You are uniquely connected visually to the outdoors within this, because y'all
like
will see
panoramic almost.
You've got wraparound windows the whole way through, and so you can see, you spend all this time and effort getting to a really awesome natural spot, and you should get to enjoy that as well. And so you should be in comfort in here, hanging out in these sort of like nice hangout spots, and enjoying the nature that's around you. I think it'll be moments like that that make the L1 pretty special.
Yeah, well, Ben, thank you for your time today. Thank you for just being a partner to the club. We're really excited about helping accelerate sustainable energy and transportation in this way. So definitely make sure to check out Lightship, specifically the L1. They're taking pre-orders right now. Sounds like maybe production end of next year, or maybe 2025 a little bit, but we'll see. Very exciting stuff that they're doing, and it's just awesome literally to be in the heart of San Francisco. I mean, we're not even talking like Palo Alto or some random garage where there's actually space. We're literally
there are city buses passing outside right now.
Yeah, so really cool to be here. Again, a local from the Bay Area, as far as like, they're just up the street from where we are, down kind of closer towards the South Bay. So make sure to check out Lightship. And Ben, again, thank you for all that you're doing to really just, again, accelerate this this transition to a sustainable future. We need everyone we can get, especially in every different industry.
I totally agree. Thanks, John. We respect our heritage, and we're pretty excited to keep moving going with hopefully a bunch of fun products.
I hope you enjoy this interview. Make sure to like and subscribe. This is John from Tesla Owners of Silicon Valley.